Hello and welcome back to the Second Chance Live channel here on YouTube. I'm happy to see that you decided to stop by to watch this video presentation. Thank you. In today's video presentation, I'm going to be sharing part 2 of the article that I wrote, the article series, the 3-part article series that I wrote 5 to 6 days ago. I will include part 3 of this video presentation in the next several days. So stay tuned and please watch part 3 as part 3 builds upon part 2 as part 2 builds upon part 3. To read part 2, I'll put on my glasses and bring up the article. I want to thank you for being here. You're an important part of my process, my friend. Is the group that you're in hurting you? Are you being bullied? Part 2. If you have not already read part 1 of this article, please do so, my friend. Part 2 of this article is a continuation of part 1 of the article. To read part 1 of the article, please click on the following link, which I include in my article series here on Second Chance to Live, which you can click on and it'll take you to part 1 of the article. In the process, individuals may give up parts of themselves which make them uniquely qualified to be themselves. Until pieces of the puzzle started to come together, they gave me the understanding that I shared in part 1 of this article. I had no idea who I was as an individual. Instead, I found myself baffled and confused in my attempts to understand and anticipate what was expected of me. In the process of trying to make sense of my uncertainty, I experienced ongoing stress and anxiety. In my experience, when the pain and anxiety of going along to get along to avoid alienation was superseded by the pain of alienating myself from myself, I knew that I needed to make changes. Although it took a very long time to connect the dots, so to say, I now realize that when compliant conditioning, and I use compliant conditioning in this article, and I coined this term as far as I know to describe what I talk about within this 3-part article. I now realize when compliant conditioning is being used by any group in any social environment to control and manipulate its members, the members of the group are being bullied. The packaging of the bullying may be subtle and refined, but the impact of being bullied by the individual or group is the same as when it occurred on the playground. In my experience, recently, while speaking with a friend via Facebook, she pointed out to me that something that made a lot of sense. Bullying can come in the form of slander, gossip, and criticism by people that know nothing about us, but that they have jumped to a conclusion based on the opinions of other people. In my experience, I found that this is contempt prior to investigation. I've had many people poison other people against me that do not know me, but just go based upon the opinions of their friends. You may have also experienced that through your life, being poisoned, people being poisoned against you. And it's not about you and it's not about us, but it's sad that it occurs. I'm going to continue with the article, an anecdote. Like frogs that are slowly cooked in a large pot of water, as the temperature of the water is gradually raised, if we do not pay attention to the dynamics of the group that we are a part of, we may find ourselves being cooked or duped into believing that our identity is in a group and not in ourselves. In the process, we may find that we have forfeited our birthright to be uniquely ourselves. In the process, we may discover that we never took the risk to learn how to use the gifts, talents, and abilities that have been given to us in ways that will work for us. In my awareness, I came to realize that I had no idea who I was as an individual by going along to get along, just to fit in so that I wouldn't feel alienated or abandoned or rejected or ostracized. With my awareness, I realized that I needed to make some changes. With my awareness, I began to embrace the parts of myself that I had readily discarded in my attempts to hold on to an illusion. that my security was safe within the group that was controlling me. With my awareness, I started to discover who a loving God created me to become in this life. Again, with my awareness, I started to discover who a loving God created me to become in this life. With my awareness, I discovered that a loving God never intended me to be bullied by any group or individual. With my awareness, I discovered that I could happily own my own life and discover how to be fully me. And at the end of the part 2, I include this in my article. To read the conclusion of this article in part 3, please click on the following link. And I include a link to part 3 of the article here on Second Chance to Live. This is the end of part 2 of this article series. I want to encourage you to watch part 1 in addition to watching part 2 and also watching part 3, which I will create and upload to YouTube in the next day or so. I also want to thank you for being here. You're an important part of my process. Let me encourage you with this as I need to encourage myself. Please do not give up on yourself, your process, or a loving God, because more will be revealed with time. Before long, we will see how far we've come because we didn't give up. So I encourage you, please do not give up on your process, a loving God, or yourself. A loving God has the big picture, so we can trust him with our future and our process. Our best days are out in front of us, and the pieces of the puzzle will come together for us. So be encouraged, my friend. I'll say so long for now. Have a great day, and God bless both you and your family. So long now.